strange discoveries often hide in the unlikeliest of places. When law enforcement entered the Santa Fe home of legendary actor Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, they weren't prepared for the unsettling scene that lay behind the door. Two lifeless bodies, cryptic evidence, and questions nobody could answer immediately circulated in hushed whispers. Did this iconic Hollywood star's life end under bizarre circumstances, or was it all a tragic accident that unfolded without warning? Gene Hackman, celebrated for his transformative roles in classics like The French Connection and Unforgiven, had spent decades in the spotlight. Audiences admired how he slipped effortlessly from stern drama to lighthearted comedy, never missing a beat. But behind the camera, Hackman was private, rarely sharing personal details. He retired quietly, far removed from the media's glare. So when news broke that he and Betsy Arakawa had been discovered under suspicious conditions, Hollywood and the world paused in shock. Long before the speculation and the swirling rumors, Gene Hackman was simply a hard-working actor with a passion for telling gripping stories. Born in California, he trained at the Pasadena Playhouse, battling the criticisms of classmates who labeled him the least likely to succeed. However, every brush with dismissal only fueled his drive. He formed friendships with future stars like Dustin Hoffman, and before long, small TV and stage roles turned into cinematic gold. From the mournful, desperate Buck Barrow in Bonnie and Clyde to the relentless Detective Popeye Doyle in The French Connection, Hackman embodied a creative boldness that rarely wavered. Even when faced with age or health challenges, he seemed unstoppable. Awards found him wherever he went, culminating in 2 Academy Awards and countless nominations. If you asked people back then, they'd tell you Gene Hackman was the definition of unstoppable success, until rumors began to swirl about what truly happened inside his quiet New Mexico estate. What occurred in that Santa Fe home still feels ripped from a page of a chilling novel. 2 maintenance workers supposedly arrived one morning expecting a routine visit. Instead, they found the front door standing ajar. When they stepped inside, confusion turned to alarm. The house was ominously silent. 2 dogs roamed nervously, and a third was later found lifeless in a crate. Then came the real shock. Both Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa were discovered dead. Authorities were called at once. Early suggestions pointed to carbon monoxide, a silent killer that has tragically claimed lives in unsuspecting households. But the deeper they looked, the less it all made sense. There were no obvious gas leaks. Investigators couldn't confirm any forced entry. Medications were scattered across a bathroom counter, a heater was knocked over, and a canister of pills lay wide open near Betsy. On a different side of the house, Hackman appeared to have collapsed near a back door, cane in one hand, sunglasses nearby. One official confessed it was all an anomaly, the kind of scene that raised more questions than answers. Whenever a high-profile figure passes under mysterious circumstances, theories and rumors multiply. People speculated about an OD triggered by prescription medication. Others whispered about a bizarre break-in or even an agreement between the couple to end things on their own terms, though they were found in separate rooms. To complicate matters, a dog survived while another had starved in its crate. If the couple had only been gone for hours, wouldn't all the pets still be alive? And if it had been weeks, why didn't someone notice sooner? Relatives, fans, and investigators seemed divided on whether foul play was involved. Some insisted Hackman and Betsy kept a low profile for so long they rarely entertained visitors, meaning a passing neighbor might not think twice about an empty driveway. Others found it unthinkable that their bodies could remain undiscovered for any stretch of time without someone noticing. Everyone wanted answers, but the puzzle grew more perplexing with each detail that emerged. Out of the swirling media storm stepped Elizabeth and Leslie Hackman, Gene's daughters from his first marriage, who spoke publicly in an attempt to make sense of the tragedy. Elizabeth, grief-stricken and frustrated, offered her own idea. She still suspected carbon monoxide, even after experts began ruling it out. She pointed out that her father, even in his 90s, had some routine health concerns, but was by no means frail enough to simply collapse without cause. Meanwhile, Betsy, just 63, had been in seemingly normal health. Even more perplexing was the notion that the father she knew had kept up a modest yoga and Pilates routine. Crediting it for his surprising agility, Elizabeth reminisced about the last time they spoke. He was in good spirits, joking about old movie roles he swore he'd never watch again. If carbon monoxide poisoning truly wasn't the cause, she wondered, then what could have taken them both out at nearly the same time? To grasp the weight of this mystery, it helps to know how private Gene Hackman was. Throughout Hollywood's golden years, as paparazzi trailed big-name celebrities from Beverly Hills to Manhattan, Hackman often sidestepped the hype. His second marriage to Betsy occurred after his first marriage ended in divorce, and they settled in a quiet corner of New Mexico. The star grew older away from prying eyes, focusing on writing novels, fishing trips, and scenic drives. Hollywood only saw glimpses of him, once in a blue moon at an award show, or occasionally meeting with old friends. Yet behind the scenes, his life wasn't without challenges. He'd endured a heart procedure at age 60, an accident in 2012 when a truck hit him while he rode a bicycle. Concerned about stress, doctors urged him to slow down. Rumors circulated about him grappling with unspoken ailments, but no official source confirmed any serious new conditions, at least not until this final devastating moment forced everyone to realize how fragile life can be. Naturally, the open door sparked countless theories. Did someone else come to the house that day? Did Betsy, in distress, manage to open it before collapsing? Did intruders force their way in, discover something, and leave the couple in disarray? Investigators found no prints suggesting a break-in. The only sign of a potential struggle was the overturned space heater near Betsy, hardly conclusive evidence. Authorities also faced the conundrum of scattered pills. Were they over-the-counter pain relievers, anti-anxiety meds, or prescriptions for more severe illnesses? And why were these pills all over the bathroom counter? As for Hackman's final stance, some speculated he was trying to leave the house for help, only to collapse near the back door. Others ventured more provocative ideas. Perhaps he discovered Betsy unconscious, panicked, and then succumbed to the same fate before help arrived. Each day that passed without a definite conclusion allowed for more rumors and press speculation. While fans mourned on social media, sharing favorite clips of Hackman as the unforgettable Lex Luthor or praising his comedic turn in Get Shorty, the official investigation inched forward. Toxicology reports, phone records, medical histories, every detail was scrutinized. And still, no immediate revelations surfaced. Relatives outside New Mexico mentioned phone calls that abruptly ended, emails that went unanswered. A few close friends recalled Betsy being anxious in recent weeks, though no one could say why. Some believed a medical emergency struck out of nowhere. Others whispered about a possible pact, though that stood on shaky ground. The couple were found in separate parts of the house, and no note ever materialized. Investigators felt unnerved by the state of the property. One official who stepped inside described a stark silence that you don't normally feel in a family home. Dust had settled in corners as though the entire place had stood vacant for days. The presence of the living dogs indicated some measure of water or spilled food they could survive on, raising a disturbing timeline question. Did Hackman and Betsy pass days earlier while everything continued in eerie stillness? In advanced decomposition cases, authorities can often establish approximate dates of death. But Hackman and Betsy's remains were in a curious state of dryness, one that hinted at environmental factors like heating or forced air. That alone left investigators scratching their heads. If something else in the environment was harmful, why did two of the dogs survive? If it was a personal choice, why such disarray? Traces of Gene Hackman's hidden battles occasionally surfaced in interviews. He once admitted feeling the pressure of fame gnawing at him, enough that doctors cited stress as a risk. He also confessed to CNN's Larry King that he feared leaving loved ones unprepared if something happened to him. And yet, the vitality of his final public sightings left many fans convinced that the man they adored still had years ahead of him. Those closest to him now wonder if the drive that propelled him from the least likely to succeed to an Oscar-winning actor took its toll in quiet ways. Did he, in his final moments, realize he was ill? Was this sudden heartbreak a tragic fluke of old age and coincidental medical mishaps? Or were external factors, as some tabloids love to claim, involved in a hidden narrative we'll never fully understand? By Hackman's side for decades, Betsy Arakawa was more than a supportive spouse. Many described her as the loving glue that kept his later years serene. She managed many of the daily tasks, ensuring his health routines were followed. Several of their friends said she was warm, welcoming, and fiercely protective of her husband's peace of mind. If both died under the same roof with no one the wiser for an extended period, it raises questions about who would normally check in on them. Did they have any close confidants in Santa Fe? Weekly visitors, housekeepers, or neighbors who might have noticed something amiss? For some, the final heartbreak lies in the idea that this devoted pair might have needed help. An ambulance call, a neighbor's knock, anything. But they didn't get it in time. It's the kind of tragedy that underscores how sudden and isolating certain emergencies can be, no matter who you are or how adored you may be in the public eye. As soon as the news broke, tributes flooded in. Clint Eastwood, who worked with Hackman on Unforgiven, called him one of the most genuine souls in the business. Morgan Freeman, who shared screen space with Hackman in multiple films, posted a heartfelt message about the quiet generosity that defined him off-camera. Gwyneth Paltrow recalled filming The Royal Tenenbaums alongside Hackman and how he blended disciplined acting with playful banter the moment the camera stopped rolling. Social media, in its endless churn, captured everything from sorrow to suspicion. Some fans posted collages of Hackman's greatest moments, like the iconic chase scene in The French Connection, contrasting them with questions about what truly happened in that locked-away Santa Fe home. Even younger audiences, just discovering classics from the 70s and 80s, became entangled in the mystery. Gene Hackman's heart troubles and advanced age weren't secrets. He publicly acknowledged undergoing an angioplasty in the 90s. He spoke of mild chest pains, about a brush with a near heart attack, so it's not impossible that a sudden health emergency triggered a collapse, leaving Betsy helpless. She might have tried to administer medication or dial for help, and in the frantic process fell victim to her own crisis. But the question lingered. If that's what happened, why was the door open, the bathroom scattered with pills, and the dog in the crate left to perish? Some experts pointed out that an older couple might have resorted to a space heater in certain rooms, perhaps ignoring standard heating systems. Could the heater have malfunctioned and caused a rapid buildup of toxic gases? But again, no conclusive evidence of lethal carbon monoxide turned up. Investigators methodically tested for every hazard they could imagine, only to come up empty-handed. Meanwhile, the public imagination raced ahead, conjuring more and more outlandish scenarios. Anytime a beloved figure's passing comes under scrutiny, the mere suggestion of homicide jolts fans. People asked, did a stranger slip in after the couple was incapacitated, rummage through the house, and leave in haste? Or could the open door have a much simpler explanation? Perhaps Betsy tried to get fresh air or wave down a passerby, then became overwhelmed by dizziness. Without forced entry marks or signs of a violent struggle, homicide wasn't easy to prove. Likewise, there was no direct evidence of suicide or any note specifying a mutual decision. The only certainty was that something went terribly wrong. 2 lives ended, while the world outside remained blissfully unaware until workers arrived to do routine maintenance. It was a puzzle that gnawed at everyone who followed the story. Hollywood rumors are rarely gentle. The hacking of emails, unverified paparazzi tips, and cryptic social media posts soon took center stage. Conspiracy theorists latched onto every new detail. Perhaps Hackman's biggest secret was that he harbored private regrets or conflicts that spiraled out of control. Others wondered whether Betsy discovered a hidden side of Hackman's life, financial troubles, unresolved disagreements with studios, or an old scandal he'd kept buried for years. With no immediate closure, the rumor mill only grew. Ironically, Hackman had once said in an interview that the best way to maintain peace of mind was to ignore what tabloids write about you. In the end, one can't help but imagine him urging everyone to remain level-headed while the truth unfolded. Unfortunately, with both him and Betsy gone, that truth might be elusive. tied to medical reports and time. Despite the heartache of this tragedy, Gene Hackman's legacy remains a beacon in cinematic history. The raw intensity of the French Connection alone would have secured his place in Hollywood's pantheon. Add in the menacing wit of Lex Luthor, the introspective vulnerability in the conversation, and the offbeat comedic touch of Get Shorty, and you have a mosaic of performances few can rival. Critics and colleagues often praised his humility. Even after winning Oscars, Hackman remained approachable, signing autographs at festivals and spending moments with fans. Friends recall him shining with pride whenever asked about his grandchildren. He'd share fishing stories about reeling in a catch only to lose it at the last second, and how that paralleled life. "Sometimes you think you've got everything under control," he'd say. But the water always has other plans. Those who loved him can't help but find deeper meaning in those words now. In the wake of this tragedy, many viewers and fans are left haunted by what truly happened in that quiet Santa Fe mansion. Was it a perfect storm of unconnected health issues and bad timing? Did an environmental hazard take them both by surprise? Or was there an entirely different storyline hidden behind those walls, one that we may never fully know? For now, the investigation continues, slowly piecing together toxicology results, forensic analysis, and the testimonies of anyone who had contact with Gene and Betsy. The city they called home is hushed, awaiting official findings that might bring at least a measure of closure. As is often the case, answers won't wash away the sorrow, but they may dispel the most outlandish rumors. What remains indisputable is Gene Hackman's impact on Hollywood and how, in his final years, he sought a peaceful retirement with the woman he loved. To fans, he leaves behind an unparalleled body of work, cinematic stories that will endure for generations. And to investigators, he leaves a mystery that doesn't give up its secrets easily. Their final moments, hidden from the limelight, continue to grip the public's imagination. Every piece of evidence has produced new questions instead of simple resolutions. Perhaps, in time, the official autopsy reports will hush the speculation. Perhaps not. Until then, the memory of Gene Hackman stands as a mix of admiration and curiosity, a testament to a man who gave so much to the world, yet kept so much of himself private. It's a story both heartbreaking and gripping, a reminder that even the brightest stars can set in the most unexpected ways. While investigators search for the final clues behind those closed doors, fans around the globe mourn, reminisce, and debate. In the end, one thing is clear. Gene Hackman's life and the tragic circumstances surrounding its close ensures his name remains on everyone's mind. His film's a treasured legacy, and his final chapter still an unsolved enigma. Remember to like, subscribe, and keep exploring the unfolding details. There are always more layers to every Hollywood story than meets the eye. We may never uncover every truth, but that won't stop us from trying to piece the puzzle together. After all, the question still lingers. What truly happened behind the doors of Gene Hackman's final retreat?